What is up, survivors? Today we're going to be talking about how to tame the Ankylosaurus. The Anky, the Ankylo as they're usually affectionately called. These little guys pack a heck of a punch, and we're going to talk about why. First of all, the Anky has a lot of really cool abilities as far as harvesting goes. Now these things, obviously from their tail, you can see that they can use this as a pretty good defense mechanism, but they're also incredibly good at harvesting things for you. Essentially, think of this guy as a giant pickaxe. As you can see, I'm grabbing flint, stone, even a little bit of metal from normal rocks, as they're really good at that. These guys will harvest a crazy amount of metal from metal nodes. They'll harvest crystal for you, obsidian, all sorts of good stuff. They'll actually even harvest a little bit of thatch and wood off of the trees as well. With this tail attack, is kind of an AoE attack that does a little bit of knockback to some of the smaller critters, making this guy a pretty good guard dog early on. But as you can see, speed is not this guy's high point at all. The secondary attack, which is like a right click on the keyboard and mouse, is just a picking up of berries. It's a bite attack that still hits trees. You'll still get a little bit of thatch and wood, but you'll also get berries from the bushes and stuff that are lying around. So right away we got a pretty good tanky harvester. These guys have a pretty decent health pool and a pretty good defense. They're low to the ground. You can still shoot from the top of these, which is really fun. I always like being able to do that with my mounts. But again, the backfalls, they're definitely not terribly fast, and their turning radius is kind of meh. Oddly enough though, and I'm trying to get this guy over to the water so I can show you. Oddly enough, they're actually quicker in the water standardly than they are on the land. So if you're in an area where there's island chains, or you have to do a little bit of puddle jumping from water to from water sources, these guys are actually pretty good at it because they can bounce back and forth between the water fairly easy. As you can see, this guy actually moves on the water faster than he does on the land standardly. Leveling things like his oxygen and stamina will actually make him even faster in the water and be able to be in the water for longer. This also means that these guys can harvest underwater oil nodes and metal nodes and crystal nodes, things that are under the water. They won't be able to pick up things like silica pearls, but definitely most of the minerals that you're going to find, and they're really good at it. Top it off, the Anky actually gets a huge weight reduction on actual metal. So as we see, this is 100 metal weighing 100, right? And if I throw it on the Anky, it only weighs 15. They get an 85% reduction on raw metal, making these guys excellent for harvesting your metal nodes. Now, obviously, the sea version of going out and finding metal and knocking it out with this guy is incredibly useful. And then obviously the metal nodes and things like that on land make it incredibly useful as well. You can also incorporate this with a flyer, so you can have a flyer pick this guy up, drop him nearby, get off the flyer, hop on the Anky, harvest everything, and then have the RG pick it back up and carry it around. Things like the RG are really beneficial at that, because not only can the RG pick the Ankylo up, but once the Ankylo is full, if the RG's weight is very high, leveled in weight, the RG even gets a small discount to metal too, that you could even put some on the RG too if you needed to, but the Ankylo is incredibly good for these things. These guys will harvest metal, rare flowers, rare mushrooms, crystal, flint, cactus sap, berries, oil, obsidian, even element shard, sulfur, thatch, stone, silicate from extinction, and obviously wood, but not really all that great at it. These are all around really good harvesters. They are herbivores, so they're easy to keep alive. You can breed these guys. They do lay eggs normally, so you can definitely do that as well. Alright, now taming Ankys is pretty cut and dry. These guys, you'll see them, well, we're actually on Herbivore Island on the island. You'll typically see them on islands and then by mountainy regions. The thing really to pay attention to is sometimes there's a pack of them instead of just one or two, so instead of just one, so you want to keep your eye out for that. If you're tranking these guys, you can either use normal trank rifles, trank arrows. They got a pretty high health, so you don't really have to risk killing them. They are going to get aggressive when you shoot them with the tranks, obviously, and as you can see, this one's coming after me. The reason why I say it isn't too much of a problem is because they're slow. I mean, you can see this guy, there's no way he's catching me. They don't have the speed. You can easily outrun these guys on the ground. What you don't want to do is like what I'm doing right here, is if you get them unconscious, they're going to try to run away. So you might want to lead them out off of the shore a little bit, because if they get too close, they'll run and knock themselves out, and they'll fall and knock themselves out in the water and drown on you. So you want to make sure, yep, see he's turning around now. And make sure we get him tranked before he hits the, before he hits the water, just like that. So you don't really need a trap. These are pretty easy to do on foot. The majority of the time, what you really have to watch is when you're taming these in hostile environments, worrying about everything else that might come after it. But if you're on the island, Herbivore Island is a great place to do it because there's no other aggressive creatures here. Or you can always pick it up with like with a high-end flyer and drop it in a taming pen. That's definitely an option as well. But I always try to do these on foot without any aids of other animals so that you guys can see how this is done. But pretty quick and easy. They eat berries. These are herbivores. You can give them berries, you can give them crops, or you can give them the regular kibble as their kibble of choice. The Ankylo saddle is unlocked at level 36. You're going to need to make that at a smithy. It does cost fiber, hide, and metal to make. I think this is one of the best workhorses as far as utility dinos go. The Ankylo has been around for quite a long time now, ever since ARK really first came out, and it's been a stable as far as resource harvesting critters goes. This combined with something like an RG makes it incredibly mobile for you to gather resources from remote locations, even high altitude locations. And again, leveling something like its oxygen and its melee, its oxygen and its stamina actually make it really good at harvesting underwater things too. Certain things that you might use a Dunkleo for, an Ankylo in shallower waters might actually be a better bet. All in all, it's a very, very utility-esque dino. It can pump out a little bit of damage, and it is fairly good at really protecting itself, but primarily that's what you're going to use them. They can be really good and simply used for clearing out space. If you're trying to clear out space for a base location or something like that, because these guys can harvest everything and they can harvest it really well, you can easily clear out a location to build your base on with an Ankylo, so you can kind of use them as like a little mini bulldozer on top of it all. These type of dinos are great for a lot of different reasons. A, they're herbivores, it's easy to keep them fed. B, they're incredibly good at harvesting resources for you. C, they're not very big. They're small animals. They're not going to take up a lot of space in your base either. You can easily have a couple of these as like running a little freight train for you to go harvest resources with. And having a flyer of some sort of nature to carry them kind of gets rid of the cons that they really have. But that's it. That's the Ankylosaurus. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one.